of America, and they don't like most of the Trump voters because they are Americans. And De Niro, how stupid is he without a script? Isn't that amazing? I used to think, wow, that guy's brilliant. But once you take the words away from him, he is so stupid. Then when he goes, impeachment will make America great again, and everybody, how intellectually deprived he is. He's a coke-addled simpleton, without a script. It is hysterical.
Oh, you won't believe this? Robert De Niro thought he could talk big, but Greg Gutfeld didn't even need a script to shut him down 1 second. Robert is yelling like he's in some Taxi Driver sequel, and the next, Greg hits him so hard it feels like a roast gone wrong. And now Robert looks more lost than ever. This meltdown is pure drama, and honestly kind of hilarious.
The idea to be bullied at my age by someone like this is not happening. And I think other people are going to have to stand up and just, because it's either that or you're going to find yourself in a situation that's so terrifying.
So Robert De Niro woke up thinking he was still the big deal from the 70s, practicing his serious face in the mirror like he was ready for action. But Greg Gutfeld came in fast and loud with jokes, truth, and no chill at all. And it all turned messy real quick because this wasn't a movie. This was real. And Robert ended up looking like he forgot what century he was in.
Last night, an elderly, confused man went missing in New York. Luckily, a band of self-satisfied elitists found him babbling on the street, threw some pants on him, gave him a stage.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say one thing. Trump.
Robert De Niro been yelling at everything like he's playing angry grandpa on hard mode, thinking he's being real, but really, he's just making everyone want to look away from the awkward mess.
Nothing I like more on a Sunday than some old guy spewing F-bombs.
This guy should not be president, period.
And when you say that, folks on Fox come after you. I remember the Tonys when he got up there and cursed. A lot of criticism of you. Okay, well, this is cable, so it's not an FCC violation, but it is still a Sunday morning.
That was Bobby De Niro promoting his new movie, Grumpy Old Man 7, More Strained Peas. Actually, he was triggered by our nation's hall monitor, Brian Stelter, asking him about Fox News for some reason. The host acts dumb, not a stretch, as if he didn't see this coming from a guy who talks like a one-man navy.
While Robert was out there making noise, Greg Gutfeld was just waiting, calm and cool, like he already knew how this would end, and when he finally spoke, it was game over because Greg doesn't argue, he destroys with style, turning the whole thing into a show everyone couldn't stop watching.
De Niro clearly has thought about this, more so than his career. His choice of roles is now down to cinnamon and lobster. He was then asked about the Trump kids. At least he doesn't want my kids to take this the wrong way.
I don't want my kids to take this the wrong way, but if my kids did what these kids did, I wouldn't want to be related to them. I would disown them.
Whoa, this is sad. Here you have someone pretending to be a tough guy turn out to be just a second banana for Joy Behar, the poster child for Trump derangement. Sadly, Bob is now just another gibbering, enfeebled ninny, surrounded by inept relatives as he frets about how Trump's in power, and he's not.
Robert De Niro never even had a shot. He walked in all fired up like he was about to change the world and walked out looking like he just argued with a potted plant. The wild part is he really thought he was the star of the show, giving that serious actor energy while saying stuff that sounded like he read it off a cereal box.
Kills me. Talk about persuasive. Really, I was on the fence about Trump, but then I decided to really listen to one of the great generational leaders of American pop culture, and the clenched fist at the end, that really drove it home. It looked like he was pressing a 2-pound weight in a Jenny Craig commercial.
Oh my God.
Look at it again. It's so cute. It's like he found out the restaurant serves Jell-O, or that he won a $10 scratch off, or he scored a cameo in Jersey Shore, or he had his first #2 in a week. Thank you, Fibercon.
Greg Gutfeld didn't move an inch while Robert De Niro was out there huffing and puffing like he was in some serious movie scene. Greg just leaned in cool as ever with his invisible popcorn, and when he finally started talking, he tore Robert apart like he was deleting expired software. It wasn't a debate, it was a total wipeout. Robert came in with that raging bull energy and left looking like a lost calf, mumbling his lines like he was reading IKEA instructions in another language, and Greg was just having fun tossing jokes like ninja stars hitting every weak spot till Robert looked like he needed a nap and maybe some water.
Idiot is the president. The guy is a fool. Our government today, with the prompting of our baby-in-chief, has in chief, I call him.
That's some reliable source you got there. This is what moms call bad language, or what producers call great TV. The plan: get an irrational figure at peak derangement and goad him into snapping. It's like cabaret for the chronically obsessed. It's like when you were a kid and would pull wheelies on Old Man Johnson's front yard. Finally, he just cracks. He's holding a spatula, chasing you around in his open robe. That's the De Niro CNN business model in a nutshell. Money for nothing and clicks for free. Of course, the real story is how accusations of Trump's nutty behavior always ends up with the accusers.
The thing about Greg Gutfeld is he doesn't just go for the obvious hit. He goes for your pride, your ego, that tiny bit of self-respect hiding in your brain, and he does it with that little smirk that says he already won. So when Robert De Niro started another dramatic speech that sounded like it was written by a robot with family issues, Greg just calmly broke it down like a teacher explaining why the emperor isn't wearing clothes and why his best days ended decades ago. Watching Robert was like seeing an old actor try to perform Shakespeare after drinking cold medicine instead of coffee. All passion, no sense, and Greg just stood there cool and sharp, peeling away Robert's fake rage, until all that was left was a tired Hollywood legend yelling at the air like he was scolding Alexa for eavesdropping.
What a sad end for a great actor. He went from raging bull, to this.
Look at this guy! Am I on drugs? Of course I am! Yeah! But this is still incredible! Flex off history is being made! What's up now, bro?
Yeah, what's up now, bro?
Oh, yeah. Poor Bob. You know, he's like a star whose girlfriend dumps him for a bigger star who's in the White House while you're in Dirty Grandpa. Oh.
Robert De Niro looked so lost, like he didn't even realize this wasn't his stage anymore, trying to fight a meme war with his dramatic movie energy, and guess what? The memes totally won. Greg Gutfeld turned the whole thing into a perfect mix of roast and smart talk, laying out Robert's fall from movie legend to loud political grandpa, like it was some Netflix docuseries. He stayed calm, funny, and sharp while Robert kept giving those serious speeches about truth and decency that only made him look more out of touch, like he took method acting way too far and picked the part of a confused hero nobody wanted to watch.
Acting nuttier. De Niro calls Trump crazy as he goes crazier. Adam Schiff calls Trump a liar as he makes up quotes. Dems talk about undermining institutions as they try to undermine an election. But when asked for reasons why Trump shouldn't be president, all Bobby had were sputtering F-bombs. His resistance had run out of script. It was just another role without dialogue, so he had to improvise.
The saddest part was Robert De Niro really thought he was still winning, pacing around like he was in some old gangster movie, but this wasn't Casino. It was more like Grandpa trapped in his own echo chamber while Greg Gutfeld just sat there calm and smiling like a cat playing with a toy. He didn't just crush Robert's points. He turned them into a comedy show and everyone watching couldn't help but laugh because Robert thought he was giving this powerful speech, but it sounded more like a weird voicemail from a confused uncle, and Greg didn't need to shout or act dramatic. He just used simple truth, perfect timing, and that sharp humor that cuts deeper than any fancy rant. And as Robert kept stumbling through his interviews, you could almost feel him realizing Greg was rewriting his image live, turning his old Hollywood pride into a punchline with jokes so smooth they sliced right through the act.
So opening a restaurant or doing something, and this is what he had to say.
And I just want to make a note of apology for the idiotic behavior of my president. It's a disgrace. And I apologize to Justin Trudeau and the other people at the G7. It's disgusting.
You know, I actually feel bad for him because I think he's one of those people that has never emotionally recovered from 2016. This is a guy who's got serious Trump disorder.
Well, and where he was last night and where he was today, he certainly knows his audience. Right?
Yeah,
so he's like talented in that way. But what he doesn't know are the cast and crew that work on his own.
The crowd went wild. They loved every second of it because Gutfeld's fans live for that mix of roast and real talk and poor Robert De Niro. Yeah, he went viral, but not the inspiring way, more like people asking why is he yelling again. It felt like watching a dramatic movie with no story, just chaos, and a lead who doesn't realize he's become the joke. Even Hollywood went quiet, not out of respect, but because everyone was probably texting each other like someone, please take his phone, and when old stars start pretending they don't see what's happening, you know the tables have turned. Gutfeld didn't even need to cancel him. He just pointed a light at the Meltdown and sat back enjoying the show, and of course the internet turned it into merch with shirts and mugs mocking the whole thing while Robert kept trying to look serious. But every time time he spoke, he just gave Greg another punchline to use. It was a never-ending loop of ego caffeine and public embarrassment.
So, Dana, shall I quote Scott Adams?
Oh, yeah, I was thirsty.
Okay.
Drink.
He claims that because we've entered a new phase where not liking Trump is just a lifestyle. So you're a lifestyle resistor because when you
don't even have to have a reason.
Yeah. So when he kept saying why, he's just going F him.
It's like when you run out of words and you can't explain anything anymore, and it's just because they think you're too dumb to understand. Like if you have to ask the question, then clearly you're just not smart enough to understand why he shouldn't be president.
Yeah.
Like that's like in his mind. The weird thing about the F-bomb stuff is that he's clearly doing it on purpose. I mean, he has enough self-control, I would imagine, to not drop F-bombs, but they're doing it for effect, as if it works. So who else did that recently? Beto O'Rourke.
Yes.
Remember, he's out there, he's dropping the F-bomb everywhere to the point that ABC had to say, by the way, not going to be allowed on our debate stage, not going to allow that. And they're like, well, we just might do it anyway.
The more Robert De Niro tried to take control, the more it looked like a kid trying to school a grown-up, while Greg Gutfeld stayed chill and funny. Turning every joke into a smart takedown, Robert kept ranting like that loud uncle who won't stop talking about politics, and Greg just kept roasting him with perfect timing charts and jokes that hit right where it hurt.
Dirty Grandpa Robert De Niro getting censored by The View after raging like a bull who saw a red MAGA hat.
And they might think that it's going to make their life better, or they just want to, excuse my French, literally, it's almost like he wants to do the worst that he could possibly do to show this country.
When Robert De Niro's team tried to fix the mess, it only made things worse. They put out this weird statement full of fancy words but no real sense, and Greg Gutfeld jumped on it, reading it in this dramatic voice and joking. It sounded like it went through Google Translate a few times by the end. Robert wasn't ruined, just turned into a new joke, because in today's world, being loud doesn't make you right, and winning awards doesn't make you wise. Trying to fight memes with movie speeches is just hopeless, and now every time he talks, you can tell he's a little more careful because he knows somewhere Greg is ready to strike again.
Jesse, I find that he's smartest when they drop his audio. But you know, it's kind of sad because you can see like people who are stuck in some kind of, I don't know, derangement, they can't see it themselves. And they're not surrounded by people telling them that they have a problem. And they lack self-awareness because everybody either tells them they're wonderful or wants to sell them. So he has no clue what he's doing, and he's upset over the emotional nature. His anger is emotional about Trump. It's nothing practical.
Right, and remember, he is the most boring interview. He used to sell his movies on Leno and Letterman, and it was like watching a WNBA game.
Greg Gutfeld was probably sipping his coffee, watching Goodfellas laughing, "Oh, Bobby, not again," and honestly, it was perfect. The old movie star trying to outshine the sharp TV guy, but Greg owned the room, the mic, and the internet, while Robert still thought he was the star. Greg kept showing clips of him sounding lost, and the crowd loved it. Memes, headlines, and laughter everywhere. And when Robert tried to say it was art, Greg just danced his way to another win.
Robert De Niro's 29-year-old child, Aaron, has come out as transgender. When the press asked her for comment, she said, "You talking to they, them?"
Greg Gutfeld even did a sock puppet dance. One had a little wig and everyone knew who it was. After that, Robert De Niro's friends disappeared faster than a movie budget. After bad reviews, no more fancy events or front row seats, he turned into a ghost watching his own fame fade while Greg was out there dancing on the ruins of old Hollywood pride and people couldn't get enough. Then some YouTubers made a whole documentary about it showing Robert as the guy Greg roasted with jokes and puppets. And just like that, his legacy got rewritten, not with serious speeches, but with pure laughter. If you love hearing wild Hollywood and political drama, then make sure to subscribe to Jacob Reports, because here every story comes with a little spice, a little truth, and a whole lot of entertainment.